Alright, here we are for some mid-game Temur action, just going over all different facets of playing with Temur. So we mulligan to 6, we scry land on the top, which is pretty nice because it makes our hand playable, but early game doesn't really matter. I'm just going to skip through it just so you guys see it. We're going to braid his cub. What does he do? He plays a whirler. Then we draw on a tune, which is really nice, gets our second red source, and gives us some energy for our cub, and we play a cub. On turn 4, he's going to just pass. He's not going to attack. He's not playing a Harness Lightning here and attacking, which, if he had a Harness Lightning, I don't know how often he would. Right now, as it stands, we mulliganed, and if he plays a Harness Lightning, that we only have 2 energy, so that gives us a window to resolve a Hydra, or eventually a Glorybringer. So we don't actually know if he's got a Harness Lightning or not. And we draw an Essence Scatter. Now, it's a pretty interesting spot because thinking about this now, I think that possibly I would change my mind of what I would do in this game and play the Hydra. But let's just talk about it because I don't necessarily know if there's a right or wrong, or if it's more of a we need to kind of read into what our opponent can have, or what the worst case scenarios are if we play a Hydra or if we pass the turn and hold up Essence Scatter. So, first off, we only have 2 energy. So if we play a Hydra, and he gets the Harness Lightning it, which, on a surface, normally you should try to avoid that. Normally you'll get a spot in the game where you have enough energy to resolve a Hydra. Hydra is one of those cards that is kind of one of the best cards in the mirror because it can't be Glorybringered, it can't be Cooed. Obviously those like 5-drops are more powerful, but a lot of games just end with a Hydra getting resolved and beating down because it's just impossible to kill or remove. Or really block oftentimes. So if I play a Hydra, I'm kind of spewing it if he's got a Harness Lightning. But in this situation, we actually gives me an attack with my Long Tusk Cub. So let's think about this. We play a Hydra. If he Harness Lightnings it, we do get to attack with 5 energy. He will have 4 energy. So he can actually make a Thopter and chump, which is probably what he would do in that situation. Because if he doesn't do that, any Glorybringer, if he has a Glorybringer, is going to kill my cub. Because if he doesn't block, then I'll be able to make my cub. Essentially, I'll use the 3 energy from the Hydra, 2 more from the cub, 2 more that I have, and that'll make it a 5/5 and not die to a Glorybringer. So, with all that said, Hydra's pretty bad against a Glorybringer no matter what. Even if he doesn't have a Harness Lightning, he can still kill my cub. And let the Hydra resolve. Sorry, even if he doesn't have a Harness Lightning, as long as he's got a Glorybringer, he gets to play the Glorybringer, exert it. I have no answers in my hand to a Glorybringer. I only have this Essence Scatter, and I'm in a weird spot where, my hand is kind of choked up, but I can only do like one thing a turn, which is pretty normal. But if I play the Hydra and he's got, for example, Harness Lightning and Glorybringer, I pretty much just lose on the spot, when I otherwise would be in okay shape if I pass. Because he Harness Lightnings the Hydra, and then he plays the Glorybringer. And for those reasons, I think that actually holding up the Essence Scatter is good. Obviously, if I pass with 4 mana up, just like my opponent did, my opponent's probably pretty unlikely to do anything. Like, he might play a Rogue Refiner if he has it, or any 2-drop. That way he can still hold up a Harness Lightning or Essence Scatter if he has those cards. But I don't mind waiting because my Hydra becomes much better once I draw an Ether Hub, once I draw a Tune, once I draw a 2-mana card like a Long Tusk Cub or a Harness Lightning, then all of a sudden holding up Essence Scatter becomes better because I can play those and hold up Essence Scatter. And because it would just be a disaster if he's got Harness Lightning and Glorybringer, or even if he doesn't have a Harness Lightning and he has a Glorybringer, we're in pretty bad shape if we just play Hydra and he has either of those cards. Not to mention, he only has 1 Mountain in play, but it seems to me like if he's doing nothing this turn, he could be concealing information. He could have a Rootbound Crag in his hand, or a Basic Mountain, or an Ether Hub, and he's just not playing those yet because he wants to conceal the fact that he's got 2 red. So there's not that much to read into that. That being said, it's possible he could have a Chandra and he's waiting for a second red source, which my play is kind of disastrous. But I think that passing is right. I think that with 2 Glorybringers, we actually have decent power. The one thing to be said, though, is that I don't have the extra land, so even if I clear out a Harness Lightning with this Hydra, the land is still going to really hurt. sorry, not having a land, like I can't immediately deploy these Glorybringers to get back into it to punish the fact that he's used the Harness Lightning. Yeah, he could have a Confiscation coup, which makes not playing anything, but it's very possible he's got the Lightning and a coup. And even if he coups the Cub, you know, we can still then have a window to Glorybringer his Whirler Virtuoso if we draw an untapped land. If not, we are resolving a Hydra, which will have hexproof. So I'm really not, obviously I don't want to see a coup, but I'm not too worried about it, so I am just going to pass here. I don't know, like I said, that I pass here in the game, and thinking about it now, after playing, like after being the kind of the commentator on this match, I almost feel like playing the Hydra might be correct, because Hopi just doesn't have much. But if he doesn't have much, passing isn't really that bad either. He plays in a Tune, which is pretty clearly off the top, unless he's got a commit in his hand. He does get a Mountain and Ether Hub, so it's entirely possible he is sitting on a Glorybringer here. Let's see what we draw. I believe we draw Magma Spray, which gives us an interesting spot again, because we're in kind of the same position, except our opponent has even more energy. So playing the Hydra is like even worse now, because he can just block everything on the Cub. But the Magma Spray is pretty dead at this point, so I think what I do is I'm going to attack, because like I said, it's very likely he's got Harness Lightning, very likely he has Glorybringer, and it's possible that he, like, either or, like, he definitely has one or the other, or he might even have both. So I'm going to attack, and if he chooses to, he's not going to make two Thopters and block with both Thopters and the Virtuoso, because then I just get to kill both the Thopters for free. He's going to block with just one of each, and we're going to go ahead and Magma Spray. And while this seems like a blowout if he's got Harness Lightning, I actually think it's important to get Harness Lightning out of his hand, because we can Essence Scatter anything he plays on the next turn, and if we get a Harness Lightning out of his hand, Magma Spray the Thopter, right? Then we can more safely resolve a Hydra and more safely go Hydra, Glorybringer, and kind of take over the game. And it looks like he does have the Harness Lightning, so I think that we've played it pretty well, but like I said, it's possible getting the Hydra out there is good, but if I had the 5th land, I think, on turn 4, notably, I would probably try to get the Hydra into play. Just get the Harness Lightning out of his hand and start raining Glorybringers on him. He does nothing again. So at this point, it's really hard to know if he's got a Glorybringer. It might be to the point where he would play it, because now if I play anything, it's probably going to be a Glorybringer. We draw on a Tune, which is an interesting draw, because now I can play a Hydra, and if he's got a Harness Lightning, he kills it, but, you know, I'm giving him the window to finally resolve a Glorybringer if he has one, but it's not that effective, because I won't have anything that he can kill. And he lets that resolve, so I think he's actually just on air, assuming he doesn't play a Glorybringer on this next turn, which is kind of what I'm expecting. And now I can just kind of cast threats every turn. The Essence Scatter is pretty awkward, but it could be good later on in the game. And I could also eventually play a Glorybringer with Essence Scatter backup. So he plays a Rogue Refiner, which I don't know if he was holding that or not. It feels like he just drew that. And it's kind of weird, because I still am not sure if he's got a Glorybringer or not, because I feel as if he might have played a Rogue Refiner there with hopes to hitting like more board presence, because the Glorybringer doesn't really do much. But I'm going to lean to the fact that if he had a Glorybringer, he tried to resolve it there. I play my Glorybringer, and he doesn't have an answer to it, so I think we're just going to win this game in a landslide victory. And that's kind of an interesting sequence. I'm not sure if I played it right, because obviously I ended up having the Essence Scatter in my hand this entire time. But like I said before, it's not that bad in the late game, because a lot of the times it's like Rogue Refiner, Glorybringer, or Whirler Virtuoso are like the big cards that can swing a late game. And he's just passing. Like I said, if he had nothing, I think I win anyway, because I just eventually deploy my threats and win, because my hand is so powerful. And we draw a Whirler here, so we're going to play that so we can hold up the Essence Scatter, and I'm pretty sure we clean up this game pretty easily. He's pretty much just flooded out. Kind of unfortunate, because I think the scenario would be more interesting had he ended up having a Glorybringer, but he didn't. And we draw a Hydra, so we kind of continue to hold the Essence Scatter the whole game and win. Like I said, the Essence Scatter isn't really terrible in the late game, and that is that.